So, hello everyone. I'm here with Antonio Liñán Colina, Director of Engineering at Relayr. Antonio, it's really nice to meet you.
Yeah, thank you, Mateusz, for having me here today.
My name is Mateusz and I work at Brainhub, a software development agency that is Relayr's partner. And I'm here to talk with Antonio about building effective development teams. Antonio, maybe let's start with two short introductions. Could you briefly explain what does your company do and what is your role there?
Sure, my pleasure. So basically, at Relayr, we help customers to stay relevant. So we are building this data-centric platform that enables the development of products, professional services, vertical value integration offerings, right? So our technology drives unique warranties with an associated insurance offers like uptime warranty, warranty about against unplanned repairments if the assets use our product, etc. Right? So besides that, we develop also two unique products, Skyler and France. So Skyler unifies the components of rotating equipment like pumps, motor, generators, or etc. So basically, we can reveal insights about how the asset is performing, and then we can discover opportunities to improve efficiency, to minimize downtime, and then basically providing also better revenues and better service to customers. In the case of France, we improve the operational efficiency of elevators by reducing the amount of maintenance visits with remote diagnostics. So people about to maintain an elevator, they don't have to go on site, finding out that they are missing the piece that they need, but actually they will have all the insights, but also all the learnings from previous events based on our artificial intelligence platform. So they are prepared to actually diagnose and to basically service the elevator with um, all the components they will need as fastest as they can, right? So both of our products open new revenue streams by predicting failures before they occur, boosting customer satisfaction and also lowering the risk with guarantees outcomes. So offering our business partners new service options for their own clients. What I do at Relayr, so I'm an engineering director. As such, I'm responsible for the managers and the staff engineers that run the department. My mission is to enable teams to achieve their goals by enabling clarity and leadership, and also to create a great place to work for engineers at Relayr. For me, a great place to work is actually one that promotes excellence, engagement, diversity, and learning.
Awesome, Antonio. And I saw a post on your LinkedIn saying that you were able to delete Slack and email app and just, enjoy your holidays. And that's only because you've built a great engineering leadership team. So, could you elaborate on that? Like, what's the secret sauce? Basically, how do you structure and compose development teams at Relayr? And what are the factors that you take into the consideration when you do that?
Sure. So in Relayr, we believe of having cross-functional teams, basically making sure that every team is able to develop or to deliver value without many dependencies. So as such, for us, a great engineering team is the one that has all the roles that they require to be successful, meaning front end, back end, QA, also having DevOps support in the case of requiring people to work on the edge and also to work with hardware to have also these people built inside the teams. So the teams are able to work directly within themselves without dependencies, without having to discuss about priorities because everyone is focused on the same goal, which is the team success to deliver a business outcome.
Okay, so are all the teams cross-functional? Like, are they all constructed? Like, is it the typical way to have a team at Relayr?
Yeah, so we are aiming actually for all the teams to be cross-functional. Some will have, let's say, more roles than others. So, as an example, the teams delivering solution for our customers, normally this tends to be more complex and bigger because we deliver end-to-end solutions. So not only back-end or front-end, but also hardware integration, edge development, gateways, and other things. So these teams normally are bigger and they have all the roles needed in this end-to-end approach, also with data scientists and others. For teams working in the platform, these are cross-functional, but these are mainly focusing on machine learning, data engineering, backend, and QA. So basically, they don't have all the roles as the others, but they stay cross-functional in the same way as I defined it before. Basically, have everything they need to deliver their own goals without dependencies from or any other team.
All right. And how do you balance hard skills and soft skills within the teams?
That's a good question. So basically, at Relayr, what we do is that we try to hire for attitude, and then we train for skills. Meaning that we are trying to get already this blend of soft skills that we will need for our engineers. Mainly, we look for leadership traits, also people who are good communicators, and also people who are can perform, can do well working within a team. So then we focus on any missing skills or leveraging anything that they will need to be basically successful, right? So that's how we try to at least create this baseline of talent. And then what we are implementing in Relayr is one, a training culture, basically finding learnings in everything we do. So promoting personal development plans, promoting also organized trainings. So we can also help people to focus on a different career path. But also we're trying to build a feedback-driven culture. So also learnings can happen in an ad hoc way, more organically, not only from the manager to the engineer, but also within their peers. So we can also keep this environment of learning, growing, and also not being afraid of failing, as we find that basically everything is an opportunity to learn. So we are trying to also give each other feedback about soft skills, about attitude, behavior, and hard skills as well.
Okay, I had a conversation like this with another person, and like he was the project manager, and he told me that like for him, like the most important thing is to the curiosity on the other side, you know, about the process when it comes to the developers, that they are curious why some things are structured in some way, and they're not afraid to ask questions. So I would say this is about the communication, as you mentioned, like one of the crucial skills in here, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So for us, communication goes in both ways. So it's about being effective in conveying what you want to transmit. Also, being curious and not be afraid of asking questions. Actually, go ahead, even outside of your team, to seek understanding, to also seek information, but also to share information as well. But also, it goes into the direction of listening. So basically, also putting yourself in someone else's shoes, listening, trying to understand a situation, and then acting basically with this whole context created. Right? So communication is important both to drive excellence and to drive quality and to drive growth, but also it's important in basically allowing yourself to grow within an organization and also allow you to understand how you can support other people in your organization as well.
Okay, and when you hire like the technical people, are you open to hire people who have, let's say, really high technical skills, but they are like, let's say, on the lower level when it comes to the soft skills?
Normally, we try to avoid it, mainly because for us it's important to have a really good fit into the team. We really want to make sure that the teams are as strong as possible. And this doesn't come only by having the right technical skills, right? So you need to be able to work within a team, to collaborate with other people, to communicate effectively with others. So we try to have at least these qualities being identified, especially also people with more leadership traits. So they can also lead conversation, they can also propose initiatives, they can also find opportunities for the company to improve, to drive innovation in this way. As I mentioned, so we prefer to train for skills. Um, and of course, whenever we find someone who has the right hard skills and the right soft skills, then it's a match in heaven for us.
All right, and like, how do you make sure that your team members are well trained when it comes to the soft skills? Like, do you have like any like, do the feedback sessions work as the like the thing that identifies these skills, or how does it look like at Relayr?
Yeah, so currently we are trying to implement basically, as I mentioned before, this is feedback culture. So we're trying to put feedback into everything we do. So after every meeting, we try to get some short feedback session. So feedback is something that we're introducing in every one-to-one with direct managers. But also we are creating a structured feedback and 360 performance review. So basically, you have also a structured way to receive feedback from your peers, from other people aside your team, from your manager, but also you have the opportunity to share feedback with others, right? So I think this is the first step. Second step is we have well-trained also engineering managers. Basically, the function of the engineering managers in Relayr is to promote growth and career development. So they also heavily coach and heavily also guide engineers into the things that they need to improve, not only hard skills but mainly soft skills as well.
All right. And you mentioned that your teams are cross-functional, and all of them are cross-functional, right? And how big are they usually? Like, how does it look like when it comes to the structure?
So I would say the typical team probably is about 8 to 10 people. I would say we have backend, front-end QA, in some cases DevOps, in some cases solution engineers or people who work closely with the edge. And then you have other roles like the product owner, the engineering manager, and so on. So we are trying to keep teams also maximum to 10. In some cases, whenever a team is bigger than that, then we normally separate to make sure that also everyone is focused on one single priority or one single objective at a time. As a way to also avoid context switching and to not to lose focus.
Okay, so they are basically structured with a kind of like the specific feature or product in mind, like that they are supposed to develop this.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And like, what works best for you when it comes to the structuring these teams? Like, how do you align like the team composition to the product goal, for example?
Yeah, so actually we heavily engage also with project managers and product managers to understand what are the needs, to understand also what it is that we need to develop. So the engineering managers are the ones closer to what needs to be done. So they consult also with our technical leads to make sure that we have all the missing roles in every team. So normally we set a team based on what the goal or what the product needs to have to be successful.
Okay. And this is basically the last question. Are there any tips that you'd like our listeners to take from this interview? Like, you know, the golden rule that you would provide for someone.
Yeah, so I think the most important one is listening to the teams, right? Listening to engineers. We have gone through an organization process over the last year, in which we actually had to implement several changes in the organization. And one of these changes was actually the cross-functional teams. It's something that people were commenting, people were feeling frustrated about having different dependencies, about having to negotiate every time, which has had a bigger priority or a higher priority in everyone's backlog. So most of the changes and most of the structure that we created was based on the team's feedback, on people feedback. So I think that's the most important part. Probably second is once you identify your vision or what are the things that you need to do to be successful, to stay on course. Some people may like it, some people may not. So you need to be also able to drive change and to manage change across the organization. We have done so by always working with goals, not with tasks, making sure that people understand what's the value and what's the purpose we want to achieve. So we try to get everyone on board and so we can push forward together.
Yeah, so they get the bigger picture, so they know like what the everyday tasks are uh, like driving to.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. And also for people to understand why changes may happen, right? And how these changes may benefit them, but also will benefit the company for sure. And of course, our customers at the end.
Nice, perfect, Antonio. Thank you very much for sharing your insights and thoughts. I bet that this be really useful for people who lead development teams. And good luck with your journey at Relayr.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you for having me once again.